I have to say that the data tracking system sounds rather Orwellian to me. What is the connection between the Common Core and this Big Brother system that shares student data with the federal government?
Another provision of the Race to the Top grant process, President Obama's education scheme, required states that wanted federal money to build huge student databases. The feds recommended that these databases ultimately contain over 400 data points on each student: test scores, disciplinary record, health history, family income range, religious affiliation, just to name a few. The U.S. Department of Education is now pressuring states to turn over that data in exchange for various federal grants. And the two Common Core testing consortia are contractually obligated to give the Department of Education student-level data resulting from the tests. And the Department of Education recently gutted federal education privacy law to allow sharing of this personally identifiable data with other government agencies and with private entities, so long as the sharing can be described as an audit or evaluation of an education program. The people pushing these Big Brother data systems realize these efforts require clever marketing to convince policymakers and the American public to make the cultural leap towards centralized collection of student data. They claim that they must collect all student data from preschool through the workforce to see how their education policies are working, and student and family privacy must be sacrificed in the process. The Department of Education is prohibited by statute from maintaining a national student database, so it's getting around that by making the states collect the data and then share it with the federal government. The Department of Education is open about wanting to share education data with the Department of Labor so that the government can track children from preschool through career. It's a progressive school-to-work dream to know everything there is to know about a citizen so he can be better plugged into the managed economic machine.
Sacrificing privacy rights is a heavy cost in and of itself. But all this sounds expensive in dollars and cents. What's the price tag?
No one knows how much it will cost to implement Common Core. Most states signed on without performing a thorough cost analysis because the Obama administration didn't give them time. One aspect of increased costs will be professional development, teacher training, which even Common Core proponents admit will have to be intensive. Another is textbooks and instructional materials to align with Common Core, and companies such as Bill Gates' Microsoft and other giant education publishers are salivating at the millions to be made. A third is the cost of the new tests, which will be huge. States will have to invest millions in new technology, purchasing, maintaining, upgrading for the computerized test. In addition, many of the items on the test will have to be scored by hand rather than by computer. Presumably, those individuals hand scoring the test will want to be paid. Some education officials in Georgia, for example, worry that the scoring element alone may make the new test cost prohibitive. In fact, Georgia Public Broadcasting reported that K-12 testing currently costs approximately $5 per student per year, and the Georgia Superintendent's Office just admitted that the new test would cost at least $20 to $22 per student to administer. They're living in dreamland if they think they can do it for $22 a student, but at least they're admitting there's a problem. One expert on assessment costs estimates that annual per-pupil costs of the new Common Core tests may be about $100 per student per year. This is an extraordinary amount compared to the testing costs reported by most states in 2007. In fact, over 10 times as much as reported by many states. A national study estimated that nationwide Common Core implementation costs could be about $16 billion, and that study excluded some costs that are hard to quantify. In any event, Common Core promises to be a huge unfunded mandate.